The facts matter.
All right, everyone, what you're seeing in the background playing here is a snippet of the video that was taken by Millie Weaver herself when the police came and let her know that there was an indictment out and they were arresting her. So just so that you're aware, the link to this will be in the description. We are going to be actually taking a look at said indictment that is available now to the public. It was never actually sealed, so to speak. It wasn't secret. It simply was not available to anyone until the arrest had been made. That particular indictment we're going to be going through with a fine-tooth comb, along with some additional information I have found on this, which, by the way, is less than the exciting conspiracy theory that's out there that supposedly this had something to do with Millie and her documentary Shadowgate. We're going to be taking a look at everything with a fine-tooth comb here, so hang in there with me and let's take a journey down this rabbit hole. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Virgo here, of course, and it is August 17th, 2020. For those of you that have not had the opportunity to see the video that I did in the middle of the night pertaining to Millicent Weaver and her boyfriend and brother, this is a correspondent that works for the Alex Jones show. This particular party has a history of making documentaries and attempted to at one point become an actress. This party just got through doing a documentary by the name of Shadowgate. Now, that particular documentary has been removed off of YouTube after being seen by over 1 million people. And there was a conspiracy theory that was going on with the idea that because she supposedly exposed a lot of individuals with regards to this particular documentary and the wrongdoings that they've done to the Trump administration, that means that the quote-unquote deep state is after her. Unfortunately, that doesn't ring true. As it stands right now, there is an indictment that is available to the public, and we're going to be going over that now. I want to give you some additional history on this, so we're going to be looking to this article written in Law and Crime, and this is at lawandcrime.com. It will be linked in the description for you to take a look at yourself. The title of this is Indictment Reveals Real Reason Behind Arrest of InfoWars Correspondent Millie Weaver. And of course, we see a nice picture there of Millie Millennial, or Millicent Millie Weaver, 29 years old, the correspondent for the Alex Jones helmed conspiracy theory website InfoWars, was arrested Friday at her home in Ohio and charged with several felonies stemming from a dispute with her mother, documents filed in the Portage County Common Pleas Court show, as I reported this morning, but many people were very irritated with regards to that report, although it is factually accurate. Weaver's arrest, which came hours before she was scheduled to release a documentary claiming to show that President Donald Trump was set up by government officials in the Russia scandal, gave rise to a slew of conspiracy theories, but the truth appears far more mundane. Weaver, along with her brother Charles L. Weaver Jr. and boyfriend Gavin Wentz, were all charged with 1 count each of robbery, tampering with evidence, obstructing justice, and domestic violence stemming from an incident with Weaver's mother, Felicia McCarran. According to the indictment from the Portage County Grand Jury, all three were charged with robbery, a second-degree felony, for attempting or committing a theft offense, or in fleeing immediately after the attempt or offense, recklessly inflict, attempt to inflict, or threaten to inflict physical harm upon Felicia McCarran. The trio also faced charges of evidence tampering, a third-degree felony, obstructing justice, a fifth-degree felony, and domestic violence, which is a first-degree misdemeanor. The obstruction charge stems from allegedly communicating false information about the dispute in order to hinder law enforcement's investigation. A YouTube user, claiming to be McCarran, reportedly wrote that the charges stemmed from a family dispute over a $50 cell phone that first impressed shock, surprise, and disapproval of the charges. Weaver recorded a portion of her arrest, which you guys just saw, which she uploaded to YouTube on Friday. In the video, she suggests that she's being detained because of a huge breaking news that she was about to reveal. Guys, I don't know what's happening right now. The police have just shown up at my house, and they said that they're arresting me. They said that a grand jury indicted me for something. I have no idea what. This is crazy, she says, addressing the camera directly. I'm literally about to break huge breaking news right now, and I'm being arrested, and I have no idea why, she claimed. Responding to inquiries about the arrest on Saturday, Portage County Jail told Wonkette that Weaver's arrest had nothing to do with government papers or with exposing the deep state or with Hillary Clinton's emails. However, a GoFundMe page that was launched for Weaver's legal defense has already raised more than $135,000, and it's requesting $150,000 upon my last check. Weaver and her co-defendants appeared before Judge Rebecca Doherty on Monday. They each pled not guilty. Bonds were set at $20,000. Now, we're going to be taking a look at the actual full indictment next. I have to say that this whole thing stunk from the beginning to me, and it's something that I think people need to pay attention to. This is how people end up getting scammed out of money. These crowdfunding GoFundMes for legal defense and that sort of thing. If this was a scenario that had absolutely nothing to do with being some sort of a political scapegoat or political prisoner, I'm sure many people probably would not have provided what they did in terms of donations. These are all things that we need to be a little bit more careful about. Just going over this piece by piece for you one more time. So this is the BitChute video of the actual documentary Shadowgate, for those of you that would like to see it. I know many people have asked me, where is the link to the actual documentary that they can see? I will link it in the description for you, so you get some sort of an idea on what this actual documentary is about and why it would have been something that people would have been concerned about in the event that they had found out she was arrested for other reasons. This is the theory that was being pushed. I knew that it didn't sound right when I started looking at the evidence, and as it turns out, her arrest has 100% nothing to do with the dropping of this documentary. As I said, I had put up a video earlier with regards to this, pointing the finger at the GoFundMe that's up for $150,000 on charges that clearly have nothing to do whatsoever with being a political prisoner, which is what the concern was of most people that were donating to this GoFundMe. The GoFundMe was set up by a person named Ezra, who is a fellow journalist of an alt-right type of magazine out of Canada, or newspaper out of Canada, rather. As you can see, there are some people that took offense to even the factual information that I put up. Here we go with a comment that says, she is not alt-right, she is a journalist that told the truth, and she will certainly need that GoFundMe for a good lawyer. No one needs $150,000 for a good lawyer in a case like what Millie has actually been indicted for. This is a state indictment, not a federal indictment, and it has absolutely nothing to do with espionage. She is actually alternative right, and she works for an alternative right news source. That particular source is Alex Jones. She is just a contractor there, but yet, because of the type of material that she peddles, they fit well together, which confirms that she is alt-right. There are others that put up claims that her electricity had been turned off, as if we don't have laptops with batteries and cell phones with batteries, where it takes very little to upload an hour-and-a-half documentary onto a platform. That certainly would not have stopped the unleashing of the documentary she was working on. The claims, quite frankly, are just simply not true. And I know that that upsets some people because it shakes the foundation of the conspiracy theory that you had. But all of these YouTube videos that you're seeing where the claim is that this is a deep state conspiracy against Millie just simply doesn't hold water. Let's take a look at the indictment. Here we have the indictment for robbery, tampering with evidence, obstructing justice, and domestic violence. And of course, it is got Judge Becky Doherty's stamp on it. It is for the state of Ohio. It is not a federal indictment. And it is has been transferred over to the Common Pleas Court. The term of July of our Lord 2020. The jurors of the grand jury of the state of Ohio, within and for the body of the county, aforesaid, on their oaths, in the name and by the authority of the state of Ohio, do find the present that Millicent, F. Weaver, Charles L. Weaver Jr., and Gavin S. Wentz, on or about the 25th day of April 2020, at the county of Portage, state of Ohio, aforesaid, did, in attempt or committing a theft offense, as defined in section 2913 of the revised code, or in fleeing immediately after the attempt or offense, recklessly attempt to inflict or threaten to inflict physical harm upon Felicia McCarran, said act being robbery, a felony of the second degree, contrary to and in violation of section 6911 of the Ohio Revised Code, and contrary to the form of the statute, in such case made and provided, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Ohio. Signed by the attorney, signed the prosecuting attorney, signed by the foreperson or deputy. All right, here we go. There is count number 2, okay? And this is knowing that an official proceeding or investigation is in progress or is about to be or likely to be instituted, did alter, destroy, conceal, or remove a record, document, or thing from the purpose to impair its value or availability as evidence in such proceeding or investigation, said act being tampering with evidence, a felony of the third degree. That tampering, I believe, was the destruction of that cell phone or the recording thereof. Here is count number 3, with purpose to hinder the discovery, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of Millicent F. Weaver, Charles L. Weaver Jr., and or Gavin S. Wentz for a crime, or to assist another to benefit from the commission of a crime, communicate false information to any person, and the crime committed by a person aided is a felon of the 5th, 4th, or 3rd degree, said act being obstructing justice, a felony of 5th degree. Count number 4 of the state of Ohio is recklessly cause serious physical harm to a family or household member, said act being domestic violence, a misdemeanor of the 1st degree, contrary to and in violation of section 2919 of the Ohio Revised Code. Okay. And then we have the statement I, Jill Frankhauser, clerk of the Court of Common Pleas in and for said county, do hereby certify that the within and foregoing is a full, truth, and correct copy of the original indictment, together with the endorsements therein now on file in my office. All right, the link will be in the description for you to read this for yourself. The bottom line here is, folks, this has to do with a family dispute. It has to do with the damaging of actual evidence, having to do with a recording of some sort where either the cell phone was smashed or the recording was deleted or disposed of somehow. It has to do with domestic violence, having to do with the harming of her mother. This has 100% nothing to do with anything federal, governmental papers, or any sort of colluding with the government in any way, shape, or form, having private information that's being shared on both sides of the political party. None of that is any part of this. This is not a federal indictment. This does not have anything to do with espionage. It is what it is, and that is a domestic violence case having to do with robbery and obstruction of justice. Fairly normal in terms of something that just happens. I mean, You know, your neighbor might have something like this. This is not a big deal. This is not something where anyone would need something of the sort of $150,000 in order to fight. Not in any way, shape, or form. These are the facts. No matter how angry they may make you, no matter how much you want to try to skew them, they are public, they are available to everyone, and they are nothing special. They're nothing special. All right, let's go over and take a look at the GoFundMe. Ah, interesting. So for those of you that didn't have the opportunity to watch my video from earlier, you will notice that I informed you when we first started with this GoFundMe and I started taking a look at it on Saturday, the GoFundMe started with a $20,000 goal. And as of this morning, it was showing a $150,000 goal. But all of those goals have been met. There's now $160,000 over $160,000 sitting in Millie Weaver's GoFundMe, which, by the way, was opened up by a person named Ezra Levant. And now someone else has been added in addition, which I have no idea who they are. Ezra Levant, however, runs a far-right newspaper online out of Canada. And these are the team fundraisers, and you will notice that it has now been risen to a $175,000 goal. So explain to me how many people have the assistance of fighting a domestic violence charge with a $175,000 GoFundMe to back them. The real truth about all of this, everyone, is that it's just a bunch of sensationalized stuff. People would like for you to believe that this has something to do with the documentary, in which we have absolutely no idea how accurate that documentary is or is not. It's pushing the documentary. It's a shame that anyone ever finds themselves in this kind of trouble, but unfortunately, it isn't always up to the family to drop charges. If there has been a crime, quite often the state will pick up the charges just as they have in this case. This is no different than something that would normally happen in the scenario where someone has been hurt. In the scenario where there has been a robbery or obstruction of justice or the tampering of evidence. This is absolutely normal. And there's nothing legally within the courts that shows that there is anything happening out of the ordinary. I find it disgusting that even after being aware of this party would raise the goal even higher up for this GoFundMe. Quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how you look at it at this point, this is a scam. And that is precisely why the Virgo Triad channel is now following this every step of the way. People beware and watch what you're following, because quite often it isn't as it appears. Especially if you're dealing with a group of individuals that are trying to push a particular political agenda from either side of the spectrum. Everybody take care and have a great day.